The unprecedented pace of global urbanization presents a defining challenge of our time, making the pursuit of Sustainable Development Goal 11, Sustainable Cities and Communities, an issue of critical importance. This goal transcends mere infrastructure development. It is a comprehensive mandate to forge human settlements that are genuinely inclusive, safe, resilient, and sustainable. Hello and welcome back after a week gap. This is your host, Harshit Simha, continuing this series for SDG 11 under Sustainable Cities, giving more impetuous building inclusive, safe, and resilient communities worldwide. As the world's population increasingly converges in urban areas, the imperative to reimagine urban living becomes paramount. This involves confronting a complex array of challenges, from managing congestion and pollution to ensuring equitable access to housing, green spaces, and essential services. The journey toward urban sustainability demands innovative solutions, robust policy frameworks, and a commitment to learning from global success stories. The ultimate objective is to create cities that function symbiotically for both their inhabitants and the planet. This entails designing spaces that foster social inclusion, enhance quality of life, withstand environmental and economic shocks, and drastically reduce their ecological footprint. Achieving this vision is not merely an architectural or logistical endeavor but a profound exercise in building communities that are prepared for the future, demonstrating that human progress and environmental stewardship can, and must, be harmoniously aligned. Slide 2. Understanding SDG 11, Core Concepts. Sustainable Development Goal 11 represents a holistic framework for reimagining urban existence, moving beyond mere infrastructural development to encompass four interdependent core concepts. Firstly, inclusive cities are foundational, advocating for equitable access to housing, transportation, and public services, thereby ensuring that urban opportunities are available to all, irrespective of socioeconomic status, age, gender, or ability. This social equity is intrinsically linked to the second pillar, safe communities. Safety transcends the absence of crime to include protection from environmental hazards and natural disasters, achieved through proactive planning and design that prioritizes human security. The third concept, sustainable development, demands a delicate balance between economic vitality, social cohesion, and environmental stewardship. It requires a long-term perspective where urban growth is decoupled from resource depletion and ecological degradation. This is operationalized through the fourth pillar, resilient infrastructure. Such systems are designed for adaptability, possessing the capacity to absorb shocks, maintain essential functions during crises, and facilitate a swift recovery, thus future-proofing cities against climate change and other emergent threats. Together, these concepts form a synergistic blueprint for creating urban environments that are not only livable today but are also safeguarded for generations to come. Slide 3. The Urban Century, Global Significance. The 21st century has unequivocally been dubbed the Urban Century, a demographic and economic shift of unparalleled significance. As of 2021, 56% of the global population resides in urban areas, a figure projected to swell to 68% by 2050. This concentration is not merely a matter of population density, it represents a profound centralization of human activity. Cities are the undisputed engines of the global economy, generating an estimated 80% of the world's GDP, and are epicenters of innovation, culture, and productivity. However, this immense economic output comes with a corresponding environmental cost. Urban centers are responsible for approximately 70% of global carbon emissions and are major consumers of natural resources. This dual role positions cities as both the primary contributors to global challenges like climate change and the most critical arenas for implementing solutions. The immense density that drives economic efficiency also creates vulnerabilities, amplifying risks from natural disasters, public health crises, and social inequality. Consequently, the way we design, plan, and manage these urban spaces is a decisive factor for our collective future. The trajectory of global sustainability, encompassing climate action, resource management, and social equity, will be determined within city limits. Transforming urban systems through sustainable infrastructure, circular economies, and inclusive policies is therefore not a local concern but an urgent global imperative. The urban century demands a fundamental re-evaluation of the city model, pivoting from one of prodigious consumption to one of resilient and regenerative stewardship. Slide 4. Global urban challenges. The relentless growth of urban populations has precipitated a complex web of interconnected challenges that threaten the sustainability, safety, and inclusivity of cities worldwide. A profound housing crisis persists, with approximately 1 billion people residing in informal settlements and slums, lacking security of tenure and access to basic services. This is compounded by critical deficits in infrastructure. 2 billion urban residents lack access to organized waste collection, and many more face inadequate water and sanitation systems, exacerbating public health risks. The environmental and social costs are staggering. Chronic traffic congestion inflicts billions in lost productivity annually, while air pollution, a byproduct of industrial activity and transportation networks, remains a pervasive threat, with the World Health Organization noting that 9 out of 10 urban citizens breathe air exceeding pollution guidelines. These issues are not isolated. They form a vicious cycle where poverty, environmental degradation, and poor health are mutually reinforcing. Addressing these multifaceted problems demands integrated, multi-sectoral approaches that transcend traditional siloed planning. Solutions must simultaneously upgrade physical infrastructure, such as investing in sustainable public transit and circular waste systems, while strengthening social systems through inclusive policies that protect the most vulnerable. Effective urban strategy must therefore balance the urgency of immediate needs with the foresight required for long-term resilience, ensuring that the trajectory of urban development leaves no community behind. Slide 5. Global examples. European urban solutions. European cities stand as global vanguards, demonstrating that the integration of innovative policy, design, and technology can effectively address complex urban challenges. Their pioneering approaches offer a replicable blueprint for sustainable development. Copenhagen's commitment to carbon neutrality by 2025 is propelled by its unparalleled cycling culture, where over 62% of residents commute by bicycle, a feat achieved through decades of dedicated infrastructure investment and urban planning that prioritizes people over cars. Similarly, Freiburg, Germany, exemplifies the circular city model, recycling 69% of its municipal waste and powering districts through localized renewable energy systems, notably solar. In the Netherlands, Rotterdam confronts the threats of climate change and sea level rise head-on with its innovative water plazas, which serve as public spaces during dry conditions and vital water retention basins during heavy rainfall, embodying the principle of multifunctional, resilient infrastructure. Perhaps most transformative is Barcelona's radical urban mobility experiment, the Superblock, Superala. This model reclaims street space from vehicles, creating pedestrian-friendly neighborhoods by grouping 9 city blocks into a single unit where traffic is restricted to the periphery. The result is a significant reduction in air and noise pollution, the creation of new public spaces, and a revitalization of community life. Collectively, these examples underscore that sustainability requires a holistic vision, where transportation, energy, water management, and public space are synergistically redesigned for human and environmental well-being. Slide 6. Global examples. Asian urban solutions. Asian megacities, confronting immense demographic and environmental pressures, have engineered some of the world's most innovative urban solutions, demonstrating that scale and sustainability are not mutually exclusive. Singapore's metamorphosis into a city in a garden is a testament to strategic, long-term planning. Despite extreme density, it maintains 47% green cover through ambitious projects like Gardens by the Bay and a world-leading integrated water management system, proving that biophilic design and resource independence can be engineered. Seoul offers a powerful lesson in restorative urbanism. The Cheonggyecheon Stream Restoration Project symbolizes a paradigm shift, where a dismantled highway gave way to a 10.9 kilometers ecological corridor. This intervention yielded a dramatic reduction in the urban heat island effect, a significant increase in biodiversity, and spurred substantial economic investment, showcasing how reclaiming space for nature and people can regenerate a city's environmental and social fabric. Meanwhile, Tokyo exemplifies the principle of compact efficiency. As the planet's largest metropolitan area, its functionality hinges on a peerless transit-oriented development model. An integrated rail system, renowned for its punctuality, facilitates over 40 million daily passenger trips, drastically reducing car dependency. This hyper-efficient urban form optimizes land use and energy consumption, making it a global benchmark for managing colossal population density with remarkable environmental performance. These Asian models provide critical blueprints for integrating nature, technology, and strategic policy to build the resilient cities of the future. Slide 7. Global examples. African and Latin American solutions. Cities across Africa and Latin America are reframing constraints as catalysts for innovation, producing globally influential models of sustainable and equitable urban development. Curitiba, Brazil, emerged as a pioneer decades ago with its revolutionary bus rapid transit (BRT) system, a high-capacity, cost-effective transit solution that became a template for cities worldwide. This was synergistically integrated with land use planning, directing growth into dense corridors along transit lines, and complemented by inventive social programs like exchanging recyclables for food. Medellin, Colombia, provides a seminal case of social urbanism, demonstrating how infrastructure can be leveraged as a tool for social equity and peace. By installing cable cars and outdoor escalators to connect impoverished hillside barrios to the city's economic heart, and investing in iconic public libraries and parks in these marginalized areas, the city actively reduced spatial segregation and violence, fostering social inclusion. In Africa, Kigali, Rwanda, stands as a paradigm of political will and community engagement in urban management. Through stringent policies like the plastic bag ban, enforced monthly community cleanups, umuganda, and strict urban planning codes, Kigali has achieved a level of cleanliness and order that rivals far wealthier nations. This demonstrates how effective governance and a commitment to collective civic responsibility can create a sustainable urban environment, even within a lower-income context. These examples prove that transformative urban solutions are not exclusive to the global north. Slide 8. India's rapid urbanization. India stands at the forefront of one of the most significant demographic shifts in human history. By 2050, the nation is projected to add approximately 416 million urban dwellers, a scale of urbanization unparalleled by any other country. This massive migration towards cities represents a tectonic transformation of the national landscape, presenting a dual reality of tremendous challenges and extraordinary opportunities for sustainable development. This rapid urban expansion is not merely a statistical projection but a pressing national imperative that will define India's economic trajectory, environmental sustainability, and social fabric. The challenge is monumental. Cities must accommodate this unprecedented growth while simultaneously addressing profound existing deficits in housing, transportation, water, and sanitation infrastructure. The strain on resources and the escalating environmental pressures, from air pollution to urban heat islands, threaten to undermine the livability of these burgeoning metropolitan areas. However, within this challenge lies a generational opportunity. India has the chance to leapfrog traditional, carbon-intensive development pathways by embedding sustainability into the very DNA of its new urban expansion. This necessitates visionary planning, massive investment in green infrastructure, and innovative policies that promote transit-oriented development, circular economies, and climate resilience. The success of this endeavor will determine not only India's future but will also offer critical lessons for the global urban century. Slide 9. India's urban sustainability challenges. India's rapid urbanization is unfolding against a backdrop of profound and interconnected sustainability challenges that threaten to undermine the livability and economic potential of its cities. The nation confronts a staggering housing deficit, with an estimated shortage of 20 million urban units, forcing approximately 35% of the urban population to reside in informal settlements and slums that critically lack access to basic services, security, and dignity. This housing crisis is compounded by a severe infrastructure gap. Many urban residents receive piped water for only a few hours per day, while less than 40% of sewage is treated before being discharged, creating severe public health and environmental risks. Waste management systems are overwhelmingly inadequate for the scale of urban generation. Most visibly, an acute air pollution crisis engulfs Indian cities. 22 of the world's 30 most polluted cities are located in India, where PM 2.5 concentrations routinely exceed WHO safety guidelines by an order of magnitude. This results in a devastating public health emergency, linked to an estimated 1.67 million premature deaths annually. Underpinning these issues are intensifying resource constraints, with growing water scarcity, soaring energy demands, and fierce competition for land creating a perfect storm. These challenges are not isolated but are deeply synergistic, demanding integrated, multi-sectoral policies that address the nexus of housing, infrastructure, environment, and resource security to forge a sustainable urban future. Slide 10. Smart Cities Mission, India's Urban Vision. Launched in 2015, India's Smart Cities Mission represents a monumental, 980 billion rupees, $13.5 billion, national endeavor to fundamentally reimagine urban governance and infrastructure. This strategic vision extends beyond mere technological adoption, aiming to create replicable models of sustainable development across 100 selected cities. The mission's core philosophy is built upon four foundational pillars: deploying smart, technology-driven solutions for efficient waste management, energy use, and e-governance, fostering robust economic growth by improving the business environment and creating employment, ensuring meaningful citizen participation in the planning and monitoring of urban projects, and leveraging public-private partnerships to finance and implement large-scale infrastructure initiatives. The approach is characterized by its focus on area-based development, retrofitting, redevelopment, and greenfield projects, rather than city-wide transformation, allowing for targeted, high-impact interventions. By integrating digital infrastructure with physical urban systems, the mission seeks to enhance service delivery, promote resource efficiency, and ultimately improve the quality of life for millions of urban residents. It stands as India's most ambitious structured response to its urbanization challenges, attempting to balance rapid growth with sustainability, inclusivity, and resilience through a framework of innovation and collaboration between citizens, government, and the private sector. Slide 11. India's additional urban initiatives. Beyond the technological focus of the Smart Cities Mission, India has instituted a suite of complementary national initiatives that form a comprehensive, multi-pronged strategy for sustainable urban development. These programs address the fundamental pillars of urban livability: housing, basic services, cleanliness, and mobility. The Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana, Urban, constitutes one of the world's most ambitious housing programs, aiming to address the critical deficit through a four-pronged approach: in situ slum rehabilitation, affordable housing through credit-linked subsidies, beneficiary-led construction, and public-private partnerships, striving to provide housing for all by 2022. Concurrently, the Atal Mission for Rejuvenation and Urban Transformation, AMRIT, focus on the vital infrastructure underpinning urban health, ensuring universal water supply, sewerage connections, stormwater drainage, and the development of parks and green spaces in 500 target cities. This is synergistically supported by the Swachh Bharat Mission, Urban, which has catalyzed a national behavioral and infrastructural shift towards cleanliness by eliminating open defecation through widespread toilet construction and driving improvements in solid waste management. Rounding out this holistic framework is the National Urban Transport Policy, which advocates for a paradigm shift from private vehicle-centric planning to integrated land use and transportation that prioritizes high-capacity public transit and non-motorized transport options like walking and cycling. Collectively, these missions represent a coordinated, albeit complex, national effort to build cities that are not only smarter but also more equitable, serviced, clean, and connected. Slide 12. Indian Success Stories. Amidst its formidable urban challenges, India has produced remarkable success stories that offer replicable blueprints for sustainable transformation. These cities demonstrate that with political will, innovative governance, and community engagement, rapid and positive change is achievable. Indore stands as a paragon of waste management excellence. Once notoriously polluted, it has been ranked India's cleanest city for 6 consecutive years. This metamorphosis was achieved through a systematic approach, implementing 100% door-to-door waste collection, enforcing strict segregation at source, and developing an advanced processing infrastructure that converts waste into compost and energy, creating a circular economy model. Surat provides a seminal lesson in building climate resilience. After catastrophic floods in 2006 exposed its vulnerabilities, the city embarked on a comprehensive disaster risk reduction strategy. This included constructing robust stormwater drainage systems, instituting sophisticated early warning mechanisms, and fostering extensive community preparedness programs. This proactive approach has significantly enhanced the city's ability to withstand and recover from climate-induced shocks. Meanwhile, Bhopal has emerged as a leader in smart, sustainable mobility. By pioneering an integrated transportation network that seamlessly combines a bus rapid transit system with bike sharing and user-friendly digital applications, the city has improved accessibility while simultaneously reducing traffic congestion and associated emissions. These cases illustrate that targeted interventions, backed by strong leadership and public participation, can effectively address specific urban deficits and create more livable, resilient cities. Slide 13. Implementation hurdles in India. India's ambitious urban development vision is confronted by a triad of deep-rooted implementation hurdles that threaten to undermine its transformative potential. First, a severe funding constraint cripples municipal capacities. Urban local bodies collectively receive a mere 1.1% of India's GDP, starkly inadequate when compared to the global average of 4 to 5%. This chronic financial anemia stems from a limited ability to generate own-source revenues through taxes and fees, creating a debilitating dependence on erratic central and state government transfers for even basic service delivery. Compounding this is pervasive governance fragmentation. Urban planning and management responsibilities are dispersed across a labyrinth of multiple agencies, state development authorities, parastatals, and municipal corporations, with notoriously poor inter-agency coordination and accountability. The 74th Constitutional Amendment Act of 1992, designed to empower urban local bodies as self-governing institutions, remains only partially implemented decades later, denying cities the autonomy necessary for coherent governance. Finally, acute capacity limitations present a critical operational bottleneck. Municipalities suffer from a drastic shortage of technical and managerial expertise. India's planning profession is critically understaffed, with an estimated one urban planner for every 400,000 citizens, a figure that pales in comparison to the 1:5,000 ratio common in developed nations. This expertise deficit impedes every stage of urban development, from project conceptualization and financing to execution and maintenance, creating a yawning gap between policy ambition and on-the-ground reality. Slide 14. Cross-cutting urban challenges. Contemporary cities worldwide confront a suite of interconnected, cross-cutting challenges that threaten to undermine their sustainability and resilience. The accelerating climate crisis poses an existential threat, particularly to coastal urban centers. By 2050, over 570 such cities are projected to face sea level rise of at least 0.5 meters, endangering 800 million residents and trillions in assets, while intensifying heat islands and extreme weather events strain infrastructure and public health. Compounding this is deepening social inequality. Urban areas are becoming epicenters of disparity, where the wealthiest quintile often consumes over 80% of resources. This inequity is physically manifested in spatial segregation, where marginalized communities are relegated to underserved neighborhoods with limited access to opportunities, thereby perpetuating cycles of disadvantage. These challenges are exacerbated by a monumental financing gap. Current global investment in urban infrastructure falls short by an estimated $2.5 trillion annually against needs totaling $4.50 5.4 trillion. This deficit is most acute in developing nations experiencing the most rapid urban growth, crippling their capacity to build sustainably. Furthermore, the COVID-19 pandemic starkly revealed inherent vulnerabilities in urban design, where density without adequate housing, water, and sanitation in informal settlements created fertile ground for disease transmission, highlighting the critical need for health-informed urban planning. Slide 15. Sustainable urban design principles. Sustainable urban design represents a paradigm shift from car-centric, sprawl-based development to a holistic model that prioritizes human well-being, ecological integrity, and economic vitality. This approach is underpinned by three core, interdependent principles. First, compact, mixed-use development advocates for the strategic densification of urban fabric, where residences, employment centers, commerce, and public services are integrated in close proximity. This model, epitomized by Barcelona's superblocks and Paris' 15-minute city vision, drastically reduces dependency on private vehicles, shortening commute times and fostering vibrant, walkable neighborhoods that enhance social interaction and community resilience. Second, the integration of green and blue infrastructure moves beyond treating nature as an amenity to recognizing it as fundamental urban utility. This principle involves weaving natural systems, parks, urban forests, green roofs, wetlands, and restored waterways into the built environment. These nature-based solutions deliver a multitude of co-benefits. They mitigate the urban heat island effect, manage stormwater runoff, enhance biodiversity, sequester carbon, and provide crucial spaces for recreation and mental well-being. This approach often proves more cost-effective and adaptable than traditional grey infrastructure, offering multifunctional value that increases urban resilience to climate shocks. Third, transit-oriented development, TOD, is the strategic organizing principle for regional growth. By concentrating higher density, mixed-use development within walking distance of high-capacity public transit nodes, primarily rail and bus rapid transit, TOD creates a structural incentive for sustainable mobility patterns. This model, masterfully executed in cities like Copenhagen, Singapore, and Tokyo, maximizes accessibility while minimizing congestion, pollution, and the spatial footprint of transportation infrastructure. It creates a polycentric urban form that is both efficient and equitable, connecting residents to opportunities without condemning them to long, costly commutes. Collectively, these principles form a synergistic framework for designing cities that are not only less environmentally damaging but are actively regenerative, healthy, and prosperous for all their inhabitants. Slide 16, Technology and Smart Solutions. The advent of smart city technologies is fundamentally revolutionizing urban management, transforming cities from static collections of infrastructure into dynamic, responsive, and learning ecosystems. At the core of this transformation is the deployment of an extensive digital nervous system comprised of Internet of Things, IoT, sensors that perpetually monitor the urban metabolism. These interconnected devices collect real-time data on a vast spectrum of parameters, from air particulate matter and noise pollution to water consumption, energy usage, and traffic patterns, creating an unprecedented, granular understanding of how the city functions. This massive influx of data is given meaning through artificial intelligence and advanced analytics. Machine learning algorithms process this information to identify patterns, predict demand, and optimize complex systems autonomously. AI can dynamically adjust traffic signal timings to alleviate congestion, optimize public transit routes based on real-time passenger loads, and manage smart energy grids to balance supply and demand, integrating renewable sources efficiently. This shift from reactive to predictive and prescriptive urban management enhances operational efficiency, reduces resource consumption, and minimizes environmental footprints. However, the implementation of these technologies is not merely a technical challenge but a profound governance imperative. To truly enhance quality of life rather than enable surveillance, smart solutions must be deployed within a robust framework of ethical guidelines, data privacy protections, and digital inclusion. This ensures that the benefits of data-driven governance are distributed equitably and that citizen trust is maintained. When guided by these principles, technology becomes a powerful enabler of sustainability, resilience, and citizen engagement, creating cities that are not only smarter but also more humane and responsive to the needs of their inhabitants. Slide 17, Financing Sustainable Urban Development. Bridging the multi-trillion-dollar global infrastructure gap requires moving beyond traditional public financing to innovative mechanisms that leverage diverse capital sources and align financial returns with sustainable outcomes. Land value capture, LVC, has emerged as a powerful tool for cities to recoup a portion of the unearned increment in land value generated by public investments like new transit lines or zoning changes. Instruments such as São Paulo's CEPAC's Certificates of Additional Construction Potential, auctioned to developers, create a dedicated revenue stream for essential infrastructure without overburdening municipal budgets. Concurrently, the strategic use of municipal bonds is empowering local governments to access capital markets directly. Creditworthy cities, like Pune in India, have successfully issued bonds to fund specific water projects, demonstrating to other municipalities a pathway to financial autonomy. For large-scale, complex projects, public-private partnerships, PPPs, offer a framework to leverage private sector efficiency and capital, as seen in Manila's water system, which significantly expanded coverage and reduced losses under private operation. The growing urgency of the climate crisis has catalyzed the rise of climate finance. Multilateral funds like the Green Climate Fund provide concessional financing for low-carbon and climate-resilient projects, such as bus rapid transit systems in cities like Karachi, which might otherwise be deemed too risky or unprofitable. Complementing this is the burgeoning field of impact investing, where investors intentionally seek measurable social and environmental impact alongside a financial return, channeling capital into underserved areas like affordable housing in South African townships. Together, these mechanisms represent a sophisticated, multi-pronged financial architecture essential for building the inclusive, resilient, and sustainable cities of the future. Slide 18, Policy Recommendations for India. India's urban future hinges on its ability to enact bold, multifaceted policy reforms that address the fundamental constraints of finance, governance, and capacity. A cornerstone of this transformation must be the enhancement of municipal finance. This requires a comprehensive overhaul of property tax systems through GIS mapping and regular reassessment to improve collection rates and expand the fiscal base. Concurrently, India must develop deeper municipal bond markets with appropriate credit enhancement mechanisms and create standardized, transparent public-private partnership (PPP) frameworks that can attract private capital while safeguarding public interest, moving beyond ad hoc projects to programmatic implementation. Simultaneously, it is imperative to strengthen urban governance by fully actualizing the spirit of the 74th Constitutional Amendment Act. This means genuinely devolving the 3 F's functions, functionaries, and funds to urban local bodies, ULBs, granting them the autonomy and authority to be effective self-governing institutions. For rapidly expanding metropolitan regions, the establishment of empowered metropolitan planning committees, MPCs, with representation from all constituent local bodies is essential to coordinate planning, transport, and economic development across artificial administrative boundaries. Underpinning these structural reforms is the critical need to build institutional capacity. India faces a catastrophic shortage of urban professionals. Addressing this demands massive investment in training programs, the creation of specialized municipal cadres in planning, finance, and engineering, and the establishment of national and city-level urban data observatories. These platforms would provide the real-time, granular data necessary for evidence-based policymaking, replacing intuition with analytics in urban management. Finally, all planning must be fundamentally inclusive. This means moving beyond isolated schemes to fully integrate slum upgrading and affordable housing into the mainstream of urban development, ensuring these communities are connected to city-wide infrastructure and opportunity. Truly inclusive planning also mandates institutionalizing participatory processes, such as area sabhas and citizen councils, that give marginalized communities, including women, a formal voice in the decisions that shape their neighborhoods. This comprehensive approach is not merely about building better cities but about fostering equitable economic growth and securing India's sustainable future. Slide 19, Global Policy Agenda for Sustainable Cities. The pursuit of sustainable cities demands a coherent and ambitious global policy agenda that addresses the systemic roots of urban challenges. Foremost among these priorities is the imperative to integrate climate action into the very fabric of urban governance. Cities must transition from ad hoc environmental projects to mainstreaming climate resilience and decarbonization across all planning sectors. This requires adopting science-based net zero targets, implementing nature-based solutions for adaptation, and developing targeted strategies to protect the most vulnerable populations from climate impacts, thereby ensuring that urban development is synonymous with climate security. Concurrently, the global community must adopt a humane and pragmatic approach to address informal settlements, home to over 1 billion people. Policy must pivot from punitive demolition to participatory in situ upgrading that recognizes these communities as assets of urban vitality. This entails providing security of tenure, a foundational step for investment and dignity, followed by the incremental improvement of housing, water, sanitation, and energy services. Crucially, upgrading efforts must seek to integrate these areas with the formal city while carefully preserving the social capital and economic networks that sustain residents. Underpinning equitable urban development is the urgent need to reform urban land markets, which are often distorted by speculation and exclusionary practices. Effective measures include enacting vacant land taxes to discourage hoarding, implementing inclusionary zoning to mandate affordable housing in new developments, promoting community land trusts to maintain long-term affordability, and establishing transparent, digitized land administration systems to reduce corruption and ensure fair access. Finally, effective implementation of this agenda hinges on the decentralization of decision-making. The principle of subsidiarity, devolving authority and resources to the lowest appropriate level of government, must be realized. This requires building strong, technically proficient local institutions with the fiscal autonomy and human capacity to respond nimbly to local needs. Empowered cities are the essential actors in translating global sustainability goals into local reality, fostering innovation and accountability that top-down approaches cannot achieve. This four-pillared agenda provides a comprehensive framework for collective action to build cities that are not only productive but also just, resilient, and sustainable. Slide 20. The path forward. Every city matters. The monumental task of building sustainable cities demands a multi-scalar, collaborative approach where every city, regardless of size or resources, plays a critical role. The path forward hinges on the synergistic interaction of local initiative, national enablement, and global solidarity. Local action forms the bedrock of this endeavor. Municipal governments, in close partnership with communities, must champion context-specific solutions developed through genuinely participatory approaches. This ensures that interventions are not only technically sound but also culturally appropriate and socially supported, fostering a powerful sense of local ownership that is essential for long-term sustainability and resilience. However, local actors cannot succeed in a vacuum. National enablement is the crucial scaffolding that supports city-level action. National governments must create the enabling environment through supportive policy frameworks, coherent legislation, and inter-ministerial coordination. They bear the responsibility for reforming municipal finance systems to empower urban local bodies with adequate revenue streams, providing targeted technical assistance to build capacity, and ensuring that infrastructure investments are aligned with sustainable and inclusive development principles, thus empowering cities to become effective agents of change. Furthermore, in our interconnected world, global cooperation is an indispensable catalyst. International knowledge-sharing platforms, facilitated technology transfer, and climate finance are vital for accelerating progress, especially in developing nations experiencing the most rapid urbanization with the fewest resources. Forums for city-to-city learning allow for the adaptation of proven solutions, while global funds can de-risk investments in transformative green and resilient infrastructure. This tripartite model, local leadership, national support, and global partnership, recognizes that the challenge of urban sustainability is a shared one. The decisions we make today about how we plan, build, and govern our urban spaces will irrevocably shape human and planetary health for generations. The time for concerted, ambitious, and inclusive action is unequivocally now. This brings end to our presentation. As we move forward, we shall begin exploring Sustainable Development Goals 12 for responsible consumption and production, understanding. We encourage you to stay connected with our channel for the upcoming session, and to share this content with fellow professionals who share their passion for sustainable development with our channel. Until then, I wish you all about their professional journey filled with excitement, challenges and sustainable prosperity.